Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our sixth class of this hybrid English course. Can you hear me? Am I coming through okay? Am I? Luis, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, thank you. So, welcome, Luis and Rosangela. I don't know where your partners are, your classmates, but let's start right away. Good morning, Rosangela. Okay, so guys, let's start right away with our scenario for this morning. And then we will cover all the modal verbs that we have left. Um, and I think that this morning we can see and cover the whole range of topics. Okay, so let me share my screen so we can start our way. Okay, here it is. So today's scenario is about a social media post. Someone posts a controversial opinion online and loses their job. In my opinion, people are too sensitive these days. I don't care what anyone thinks. So the question is, because we live in this world, right? Now we have to be careful about what we post online. So the question is, should employers judge employees based on social media activity? Should employers judge employees based on social media activity? Okay, so think about that for a second, and I will ask you what you think in a moment. Okay, so let's start with Rosangela. Rosangela, what do you think? Should you be fired from your job based on your social media activity?
Teacher, I'm not ready.
You're not ready? Okay, let's continue with Luis then. Luis, should you be fired based on your social media activity, on your social media posts?
I think it depends. It depends on uh, what critical is my activity or my posts. But I think that they should judge us based on what we share on social media. Why? Because I think that based on what you you share on your social media, uh, they tell about you, about your personality, about your intentions. For example, when someone send me a friend request, a friendship request on Facebook or Instagram, I don't know, I usually enter into the profile and see what that people share. According with that, I accept or reject because uh, imagine people that share offensive posts and I have that people into my network. It's not good for me. So I look for someone who share my point of view or my I can say my values,
Okay.
because it's a virtual friendship, but it's a friendship. Uh,
Yes.
we sometimes meet someone in social media and become friends. For example, my wife, I met her from social media
Yeah.
and some friends too. But I think this post in the example is not so critical to lose his job. That part that says I don't care what anyone thinks is so rude, but I think uh, is not so bad for lose his job. They, if I were they, I would give him an admonishation because it's not good, but lose your work for a post that like this, I think it's a exaggeration.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Luis. Okay, Luis, you said that you met your wife from social media. In this case, it would be I met my wife on social media or through
Yeah,
yeah or
yes.
through. Okay. Thank you, Luis. Mariela, what do you think? Should you be fired from your job based on your social media posts?
It's maybe if you have um an important position in the your job, you you can't give a controversial opinion on social media because maybe in just in case you have a lot of followers, and maybe that opinion can be viral can um, and can affect the image of the company because I saw a case similar. A man share on social media a controversial opinion and get fired because the he was an important person in the hierarchy. So I don't know if hierarchy is the correct word.
Hierarchy.
Here, okay, hierarchy. So
Hierarchy.
hierarchy,
Yeah.
okay. So
Mhm.
and he got fired for the post, and I think the company should fire the person because their his no its reputation is in game in this case.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Mariela. It's a controversial thing now, right? Tell me, Elias, what do you think? Should you be fired from your job based on your social media posts?
Hi everyone.
Hi.
Teacher, I'm agreed about it because, for example, when you are working for a company, you are represent the company. If you know who, if your post or your social media is not according with the company, you are a bad image for that. For example, if you are just posting something or no agree about the ideas about the company or something like that, you are a bad image for the company. For that reason, I think if you don't want to stay just preoccupied about it, you can put your social media privacy. Yeah, or privacy or private. I don't know
Private.
what is the
Private.
correct word.
Yeah.
Private, exactly private. But it's not 100% that other people can see because all your contacts can see the post. But it's a different way that you can stay more private than the other people. But I 100% agree about the company can fire some people about some posts in the social media.
Okay. Okay. So, okay. Elias said something about having their profile private to avoid sharing posts with everyone. Okay, interesting. Rosangela, now it's your turn. Rosangela, what do you think? Should you be fired? Should you be fired based on what you post?
Yeah, employees represent the company, and if I am employee, I can post something bad about the company because I am in the company, and I I I have protect the company, and the employer can take action when employer public posts clear violate the company policies. That's
Okay.
it.
Okay, thank you, Rosangela. So, well, as all of you have shared, I think that all of you did. When we work for a company, we represent, whether we like it or not, that company. And what we do affects the image of that company. And as Luis Enrique said, you can know someone or about someone through their social media account, what they post, what they don't post. You can choose not to post anything, but when you decide to comment or to say something, we have to be we have to be careful when we do it. Some posts are really dangerous or endanger. They can endanger our jobs, like hateful, when you have this hate speech, like they call it today, or threats or discrimination. Those posts can make you or can get you fired, especially if you work in the U.S. I have seen people that I have read on the news that were fired because they post a hate speech or a hate comment. They were fired from their company. If you work at Amazon or at Facebook and you make a discrimination comment against, I don't know, LGBT people or something like that, you will get fired. I mean, that's how the world works now, and we have to adapt. And we also have to see the positive side. If you represent, let's see, if you work at Banreservas or you work at Popular, those are serious companies, serious banks, and your image affects the way people see those institutions. So you have to be careful what you post. Sometimes people don't want to take responsibility about that, or they don't like the burden of working in a place like that. People want the money, right? They want the income, they want the things that they give you. In this case, Banreservas is known for all the advantages that you have when you work there, but those advantages come with a price, and the price is that you have to be careful with what you post on social media, because you now represent the bank, and the bank is somehow linked to you, and people might judge the bank based on your post, and they will say that person works at, or this person works at, and if that sentence ends with a bank, in this case Banreservas or El Popular, and it's to make a bad comment like, wow, look at this video of this person who is the manager of the office, I don't know, of one of the branches of Banreservas, the one that we have on Churchill Avenue, and she or he was drinking last night, and he or she got drunk and was speaking the spiteful or irrespectful things. People are going to comment about that because you work in a serious bank. So we have to be careful with that. We have to be careful with that. We have to be careful with about what we post. And now, to summarize or to end my comment, I think, because someone told me, I haven't experienced that, but someone told me that when you apply to a job, people ask you about your social media's account, and they look your name, they look for your account, and depending on what they see on your social media account, they will give you the job or not. So yes, we have to be careful, and bad things can happen if you don't use your social media responsibly. Tell me, Elias. Elias, your hand was raised.
Oh, sorry. Teacher,
Okay.
I'm so worried about it because we have to be careful about our posts in social media. When you are applying for a job, always has a space that you have to put in your social media in the formulary.
Yeah.
Other case is about the embassy. Yes, it's when you want to get a visa, the embassy are seeing your social media about if you are saying the truth in the interview, if for that reason you can get or not a visa.
Yeah. Yeah, it is important.
Mhm.
It's like a CV now. You know what is a CV?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. It's like curriculum vitae. It's part of your curriculum vitae now. You need to be careful with what you post. Okay, so Sarah and Noemi just got here. Let's see if they can join the conversation. We're debating this. The social media posts. We already finished, but if you want to share your thoughts with us, you can. Noemi, do you have something to
Teacher,
say about this? What do you think, Noemi?
no, teacher, I pass.
You pass? Okay. Okay, it's okay. Sarah, do you want to say something about this, Sarah? About social media posts and how they endanger your job?
No, that's clear. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so let's continue. So on Monday, we practically finished all the exercises, right? On Monday, we practically finished all the exercises. We only have one more left, which is this one, right? Because the last one was exercise number 4, must or have to. So this morning, after we finish with this, we will cover all the topics we have left, all the remaining topics of the modal verb general topic. Okay, so let's see this. Rewrite the sentences using the correct form of have to. So number 1 and number 2. Who wants to read number 1 and number 2? Tell me, Elias, number one, number two.
The first one, it is necessary for me to work tomorrow. Is I have to work tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Okay. The second one, it was necessary for us to leave earlier. The correct way is we have to leave earlier.
Have or had?
Uh, no, it's have to, teacher.
Have.
Have.
Okay. In this case, it's had, the past. I had.
Really?
Yeah, because here we have it was. You see?
All right. Yes. Yes. Yes.
So it was
You're right.
necessary for us to leave early. It was. So we had to
Yes.
leave early. Okay? Had.
Thank you.
Rosangela, you're welcome. Rosangela, number 3 and number 4.
Thank you, teacher. Number 3. It will be necessary for her to renew her license. And she will have to renew her license.
Okay.
Number 4. It is necessary for you to attend the meeting. Do you have to attend the meeting?
Well done. Do you have? We use do when we want to build questions with have, right? Have to.
Yes.
Do you have to attend? Well done. Sarah, number 5.
It is necessary for them to come today. They don't have to come today.
Yeah, they don't have to come today. Okay, well done. Let's continue with exercise 6, error correction. Okay, so number 1, number 2. Tell me, Sarah.
You have to finish today and she doesn't have to work tomorrow.
Okay, so number 1 is he has or he have?
Yes,
Okay,
he has.
he has.
With
Okay, okay.
S.
With an S.
Yes.
Excellent. So he has to finish today and she doesn't have to work tomorrow. Okay? Number 3 and number 4. Number 3 and number 4.
Number 3, teacher,
Yeah.
is do you have to wait?
Okay.
And number 4, we will have to study harder, but that's correct, no?
Here the 2 is missing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We will have to study harder. Yeah.
Yeah.
I said it, but I didn't realize I wasn't there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I saw that. Okay, so number 3, number 4. So we can see how here that we have had. When we use did, we don't use the past tense of the verb. And here, remember that the preposition to, it's necessary. Okay, it's a must. Mariela, 5 and 6.
Number 5, does they have to pay? The correct is do they have to pay? And number 6, I had to went home. And correct is I had to go home.
I have to go home.
No. Uh-huh.
I had to go.
Yes,
Okay.
I had to go. The verb and run is go because it's in past.
Okay. So yeah, that's correct. We only need the first one in the past. In this case, have, had, and then the other one, it's in its paid form. Okay, let's continue with number 7 and number 8. Luis.
She has to wear a uniform. H, they don't have to go to school today.
Okay, goes is the incorrect word, right? And the last two,
And two
Rosana.
is missing.
Yeah, and the two is missing.
I know two is there. Okay.
They don't have two. Well, they have the two here. It should be here, right?
Yeah.
They don't have to go to a school. Well, here we have two twos. We're missing the two here, and this one is also necessary because this is about this preposition here is different from the preposition that we have here. They don't have to is the preposition that comes with the have, and this one to is the preposition that expresses the movement. To.
Exactly.
Okay, Rosangela, number 9 and number 10.
He has to wake up early every morning. The wrong is have. Correct, he has. The S.
Yes.
And which have to travel next week. And the wrong is has is with have with B.
Okay. Well done. Easy peasy, guys. So the practice on the platform is based primarily on the use of have to and must. Remember that you have that practice on the platform and you have until midnight to finish it. Okay. So tomorrow we will do some interesting activities, speaking activities, where we will work with different situations. But for now, let's continue with our last part or the remaining part of the modal verbs topic. Okay, this is a long topic, especially because of the use of must and have to. As you will see now, the remaining ones are really simple, but the key ones, the more difficult ones, are must and have to because they share similarities between them. Noemi, tell me.
Yes, teacher, I have a question. So, with the future tense, the verb will, right? We don't use the verb have, stay, have. It doesn't change, right? Like with she, it, and him.
Could you please repeat your question, please?
Okay, so what I mean is, when you use will in the future tense, right?
Yeah.
If you use have, like she will have, is have, or I mean, it doesn't change with the third person, right?
Yeah, it doesn't change because will is a modal
Okay.
verb and avoids the change.
Okay.
That's something
Okay.
to keep in mind. So we have, right? In the present tense is have, has. In the past is had. But when we use it in the future with will have to, it is always the same regardless of the pronoun. So I will have to, he will have to, she will have to. It never changes because will is a modal verb and it impedes the change. Okay. So give me 1 second. Let me answer this. This is a little emergency here. Okay, so here we have the scale of urgency. Okay, so we have here should, need to, again, must. We won't talk about must, but we will see it only for reference. Okay, so we have here the low urgency, in this case is should, the moderate urgency, need to, and the high urgency, must. Okay, so let's see them one by one. We have the should and ought to structure, right? The friendly advisors should plus ought to. Remember that they mean exactly the same. So let's start with should. Should give advice, make recommendations, express opinions, not as strong as must. The structure is simple. Subject plus should, shouldn't plus base verb. You should drink more water. She should exercise 3 times a week. You shouldn't smoke, right? Should plus subject base verb is the question, like the one I asked at the beginning of the class. Should you be fired? Remember? Should you be fired? Should I call the doctor? Is the structure that we use when we form a question using a modal verb. The modal verb, it's always at the beginning. Common mistake alert, you should to study. We know that we never use prepositions with modal verbs except in the case of ought to, need to, and have to. She should studies. This is also wrong because here studies is being affected by the pronoun she, and we know that when we use a modal verb, we can't do this. So the correct form is you should study, she should study. Okay? Okay. Ought to, ought to. Almost the exact same meaning as should, but a slightly more formal and a little stronger morally. Note, many native speakers simply use should instead. Okay? So don't be surprised if you don't hear ought to from Americans when you travel to the US. Okay? My recommendation is that you use it just to show them that you know the structure. Okay, so subject ought to base verb. You ought to respect your parents. We ought to help others. Negative note, you ought not to lie is technically correct, but usually people just say you shouldn't lie. Potato, potato. Potato, potato, okay? So just to keep that in mind. Okay. Then we have had better. Had better is stronger than should and ought to. This is really the best thing to do. That's the meaning of had better. It is much stronger than should. It implies danger. Remember? Danger, consequence, warning. The structure is simple. Subject, had better, or the contraction or the contracted form, it better, plus base verb. So you'd better leave now. She'd better see a doctor. We'd better hurry. So we always use better. It never changes. Okay, so it is a recommendation. It is an advice, but it's different from should because should does not imply danger, consequence, or a warning, while this structure implies danger, consequence, and a warning. The negative formula is should subject, had better not, base verb. You'd better not touch that wire. Okay, it's the same not that we see in the other modal verbs, right? You should not, will not. Okay, it's the not. Okay, remember that we use don't or doesn't only in present simple, only in present simple or simple present. Okay, so should advise you should wear a coat. No problem if you don't, it's only a recommendation. Meanwhile, or whereas in the case of you'd better is different. You'd better wear a coat. If you don't, you'll probably get sick. As you can see right here, I can use whichever I like, or should or you'd better, but the meaning is different. This is friendly, right? Because it's just a recommendation. You're not implying any consequence, but this is not as friendly because here you're implying that something bad is going to happen if people don't do what you're saying. Okay? Common mistake alert. He had better to leave. he had better leave. Again, we don't use the preposition to in this structure. Okay? So far, so good. Is everything clear? Okay, so you'd better study these structures. You're gonna need them. Okay, and the last one is need to. Need to expresses necessity. Something is necessary because of circumstances, not necessarily a human rule. This is the key element that distinguishes need to from have to and must to. Must can be an external rule, right? Or an internal obligation. Have to is always an external rule. But need to, it's never about a rule. External or internal is a practical necessity based on circumstances. Okay? So when I say I need to study, that's a practical necessity. I must study is an internal obligation. I have to study is an external obligation. You see the difference? Have to, external. Must, internal. Need to, practical necessity. So it's less strong than all of the above. Need to is less strong than have to and must. Is less strong. Okay, so the structure is simple. Subject, need to, base verb. I need to study. She needs to sleep. We need to work. Because need is a semi-modal modal verb. We know that the rule of the third person singular does apply. Does apply. The same thing happens, we have to. Okay, you can forget that. Have to and need to are semi-modal modal verbs. They do not abide by the same rules as the other ones. So in the case of will or should, the third person singular rule does not exist. But in the case of need to and have to, it does. And we have to respect that and we have to remember that. Okay? Because need to shares this structure with have to. When we want a negative structure with need to, we have to use what? Don't or doesn't. The same thing as with have, right? She doesn't have to. He doesn't have to. In this case, he doesn't need to. She doesn't need to. That's the importance of knowing that need to and have to are semi-modal verbs. So don't need to, it is not necessary. It does not mean forbidden. Remember that in the case of mustn't, when you say you mustn't smoke, it's because it's forbidden, it's a prohibition. But when you don't say you don't need to, it's similar to you don't have to, right? It is not necessary. Okay? But we have to say something right. You don't need to and you don't have to are similar but not exactly the same, okay? So, common mistake alert, she needs study is wrong because we're missing the to. She needs to study. I don't need go is wrong because it's missing the to again. I don't need to go is the correct form. Okay? So, just to summarize, tell me, Luis.
Teacher, I didn't see an example in the past, but I think we can use that in the past. For example, I needed to study, but not anymore because I finished, for example.
Okay. I think we have two structures there because we need the auxiliary, right? I needed to study. Okay. I didn't need to study. Okay, so we have the needed, which is the past form of need to talk about a past necessity. And we have the negative, right? I didn't need to. So, yes, as long as we're using the to, right, we're still working with the semi-modal form of the verb. Okay? So it's okay. And as Luis said, it is right. We don't have it here, but we can use it in the past too. Okay, so again, we have here must and have to, right? The meaning of must, a strong personal obligation. The speakers feels it is necessary, also used for strict rules and laws. And in the case of have to, external obligation, someone else or the situation requires it. Rules, circumstances, government boss. We discussed this for the last week. So, okay. Here we have the negative, must not or mustn't, and don't have to. Mustn't, the prohibition, and don't have to, not necessary. Okay, we know that. So, now to see them side by side and to detect and understand the key differences: must, strong personal obligation; have to, external obligation; need to, necessity. A necessity is not a rule. Okay, it's not an obligation, it's simply something you need. So, must, speaker decides; have to, situation decides; need to, situation requires. Must is the strongest, have to is a strong, need to is neutral. Okay, so is the, you can see even the change in the colors, right? From red to orange to yellow. Okay, so I must, right, is my decision. Have to, the rule, and need to, the necessity. Okay, so let's see them here. I must go now is a strong decision, personal decision, versus I need to go now, it is necessary. I have to work, boss requires it, versus I need to work, I need money. You see the difference? So we have to remember this because this is what we express every time we use one of these. So you can say, I must work, I have to work, I need to work, and all of those have different meanings. I must work is an internal obligation, I have to work is an external obligation, I need to work is a practical necessity based on circumstances. In this case, I need money. I need to work because I need money. Is that clear? Have to, must, need to. Tell me, Rosangela.
It's clear, teacher. Excuse me.
It's okay. It's okay. So we didn't spend much time with have to and must because we have been studying those topics for the last days, for the last week. Okay, so let's continue. Again, to see it in perspective. If you want to see this from a scale perspective, you have level 5 being the strongest and level 2 being the weakest, right? So must, have to, had better, need to, should, and ought to. Strong obligation, external obligation, external advice, warning, necessity, advice, formal advice. Okay. Okay. So I have a lot of homework for tomorrow. So in order to reduce a little bit the burden, I will do at least one of these exercises now. So we're going to do this right now. Okay. We're going to do this right now. You're going to read this exercises that we have here, and you're going to think which of these modal verb fits best in each of the cases. And I will give you 5 minutes. So it is 8:47 until 8:42. Well, 42, no, 52, 53, because 47 is already on the run. So until 8:53. Okay, so read them and make your decision. I will be right here. Okay, time is up. Okay, time is up. So let's start with number one, number two. Who wants to read them? Who would like to read them? Rosangela, tell me.
You should drink more water every day. Number two, I must finish this report today. My boss asked me.
Okay, so in the case of number two, Rosangela, the better option is have to. Remember that we're using here just because we're trying to distinguish between must and have to. We're using have to for external obligation, which is its only use, and we're using must only for personal obligation. And here, because of this last sentence, we know that this is an external obligation because my boss asked me to. So is I have to finish this report today. My boss asked me to. If, for example, the sentence was I finish this report today, you can say I must, okay, as a personal obligation. Okay, so let's continue with. Yes.
Excuse me, my internet was off. You can repeat, please?
Okay. What I was saying is that number two, the better option is have to, because have to expresses an external obligation. And while must can be also used for an external obligation, we normally, when we have the two options, have to choose always have to for external obligation, because have to is only for external obligation, and must, we normally use it for internal obligation. Okay, we know that it has more than one use, but for now we're only using it must for internal obligation, or and have to for external obligation. Okay.
Oh, because it's for my boss, it's have to.
Yeah, because my boss asked me. So this last sentence here
Okay.
tells me that the obligation doesn't come from the speaker, in which case I would use must, but comes from the boss. And in this case, I have to use have to.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so Sarah, number three and number four.
The number three is month, and the four is have better.
Could you please read the whole sentence, Sarah?
Mhm. You must smoke inside the hospital.
Mustn't.
We have
You mustn't.
you mustn't
Uh-huh.
you mustn't smoke inside the hospital. We have better leave. We have better leave now, or we'll miss the train.
Okay, well done. So we have you mustn't smoke inside the hospital, which is a prohibition. Remember that don't have to or needn't to are not prohibitions. Number four, we had better leave now or will miss the train is the correct option because we have here a consequence. Okay, so Judith, number five and number six, Judith.
Yes, number five is she need to study because she has an exam tomorrow. Number six is students have to wear their ID card at school.
Okay, so number five is needs to. Remember to add that s. She needs to, right? Because it's a third person singular rule, and this structure is in present simple, simple present. So she needs to study because she has an exam tomorrow, and here, just as Judith said, students have to wear their ID cards at school. This is obviously an external rule. Number seven and number eight. Too easy, guys. Too easy. Oh, Joelina, welcome. Good morning, Joelina.
Good morning, teacher. And number seven, number eight.
Yes.
Okay. Number seven, you don't need to worry about dinner. I already cook it. Number eight, I must call my grandmother today. I promise it.
Okay. Okay. So we have here number seven. You don't need to, right? You don't need to. You don't need to. Worry about dinner. I have already cooked. I've already cooked. And number eight. Here we have a Jolina use must, and I think that's a correct one too here, because we have here I promised. So the obligation comes from the inside, right? It's my promise. I have to keep it. So I must call my grandmother today. I promised. If, for example, maybe the sentence here said like, she made me promise. Well, the obligation changes there because the obligation comes from the outside. But here the obligation comes from the inside, right? So I must call my grandmother today. I promised her. It is my promise. Okay, Sadiel, number 9 and number 10.
Good morning, everybody. Drivers have to stop at a red light.
Yes.
Number 10, you have to apologize. It was your mistake.
It was your mistake. Muy bien, you have to, right? Sorry, you should. You should apologize. It was your mistake, and drivers is have to. Okay, well done. Any questions about this? Any doubts? Is this clear?
Just repeat it, the 10.
10 is you should apologize. Your choosing was correct. You should apologize.
In an internal condition. O sea, it was your mistake. Or
Yeah, no, but
what's the
here,
difference between should and in this case should and have to?
in this case, it's a recommendation. You should apologize. It's not an external obligation
Wow.
or an internal obligation. The one you chose, should, is a correct one. But not because it's an external obligation or something else. It's just because you're given a recommendation. You should apologize. It was your mistake. That is not an external or internal obligation in this case. It's only a recommendation.
Wow. Wow, contextual case, contextual case. I think about had to. He said to him or to her, and I don't know, it's your mistake. I saying it's an external condition. But when you say add recommendation,
Yeah. Remember that it's
Wow.
not we don't say external condition, right? It's not an external rule. So when we use have to, it's because we have an external rule. Apologizing is not a rule. Okay, it's not an external rule. It's in this case only a recommendation. It was your mistake. It's not a rule. It's an opinion. Okay, it's an opinion.
I think she or he break our rule. Okay, but it's a recommendation. I know.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
even in this case, specific this case, because I could say no, it's he break a rule. Maybe a rule internal, internal, no a rule external. Okay. I got it.
Okay. But just the word rule there, remember that when we're talking about apologizing and defining a mistake, It's not necessarily because you broke a rule. It's simply something that didn't went as planned, or because you said something that you shouldn't said. And sometimes that is ambiguous because sometimes people feel bad about something that wasn't bad, but from their perspective, it's something that is wrong. So we have to see those uses as far from each other as we can because they're far from each other. Should and have to, they have nothing in common. Should and must, they have nothing in common because should is only a recommendation, which comes from the perspective of the person giving it to you in this case. In the case of a rule, in the case of have to, we use it for rules, external rules from the government, from the state. You know, those are rules. They're not subject to interpretation. For example, when you say you have to stop at a red light, it is not subject to an interpretation. If you broke that, if you break that law, if you break that law, they won't say, "Okay, apologize now." No, no, no. You have to pay a fee because you broke the law. So we have to distinguish between breaking an official law and making someone feel bad because something we did that that person thinks is wrong, which is always subjective. Okay, because it's
That's
not.
okay, teacher. If I break a protocol rule,
Yeah.
but if I go to the church and I talking loudly, hey, boy, take care, you are at the church, take it easy, take softly, okay,
Yeah, I speak.
but in this case, I don't know, okay, but it's another case.
Yeah,
But
it's different. It's different.
my point is, very interesting in this case, teacher. But to take what is the difference between an external route and an internal route,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, yeah. In our previous classes we talked about that. I don't know if you were there at the beginning of that class, but we were defining the differences between an internal obligation and an external rule. Okay, so when we talk about internal, it's not an internal rule, but an internal obligation in the case of
Okay,
must.
okay.
Okay, so we only have external rules and internal obligation. External rules, internal obligation. And we use must for internal obligation and we use have to for external rule. But when we apologize,
For example, teacher,
it's
if
beyond that.
you said to us, you have to levantar las manos, déjame decir. Si yo no levanto las manos, eso es una obligación, una regla, o sea,
That's an
¿cómo
external
yo,
rule. That's
cómo
an
es
external rule. Eso es una regla externa. Sí,
Okay.
ahí si yo le digo, por ejemplo, yo le digo, tienen que levantar las manos antes de hablar, yo le digo, en inglés sería, you have to raise your hand before you speak, or before speaking. You have to raise your hand before speaking. Eso es una regla externa, porque la estoy colocando yo. You have to. ¿Ok? Entonces, si usted rompe esa regla, pues hay consecuencias con la regla, pero no es una disculpa. ¿Sí? No se resuelve con una disculpa, hay una consecuencia. Cuando hay reglas, no hay disculpas que valgan. Lo que hay es consecuencias. Tú te puedes disculpar, pero no es lo que se espera. Lo que se espera es que tú pagues por lo que tú hiciste. ¿Ok?
teacher, the class is very triste.
¿Ok?
I like that, pues, for example, in Spanish, we know the trabalenguas.
Yeah.
There are words want to be the same, but not the same. Por ejemplo, cuando they say Sima with S or Sima with C, they sound equal, but no is the same, not the same word.
Yes. Tongue
No,
twisters.
happen to be again, but let's well, let's continue this. Excuse me, teacher.
Don't worry, don't worry. We're here to clarify any doubts you may have. Okay, any other questions about this? Is this clear? Okay, so I assume it is. Okay, so homework, because we have another topic to review now. This is from now on, all of what I'm going to show you is homework for tomorrow. Okay, so we have here number 1, number 2. So here is right, correct the mistakes, easy peasy. Then number 3, complete the sentences using must, have to, need to, should, ought to, had better. And number 4, this is my favorite one, real life situations. So you have to write one sentence using the most appropriate expression. Okay? So here you have to think and use all the knowledge you have gathered from all these classes about the modal verbs to think which one is the best option to use as a response. For example, your friend has a terrible cough. What would be your response to that? Who wants to tell me? Your friend has a terrible cough. Which modal verb would be the best to answer this? Tell me, Rosangela.
Your friend has a terrible cough. She or he should take a tea.
Okay, should, right? Should. Or your friend has a terrible cough. He or she should see a doctor. But Rosangela was right when she used should, because of this condition, we need to give a recommendation. And the modal verb for recommendation is should. Another possible answer could be you ought to see a doctor. Ought to. Okay? So with that in mind, you're gonna do the same thing with all of these sentences. You have to think about what would be the appropriate expression in each of these situations. Okay? Here we have practice number 5, rewrite the sentences. Here you have the options, have to, should, don't have to, mustn't, should, etc. And you have here, write a sentence. You have to rewrite them using the modal verb in parentheses. Pretty easy too. It is a rule to wear a helmet. You have to wear a helmet. Okay? At this point of the course and at this point of these classes, you should be able to do that just by seeing the sentences. Okay? Practice number 6, we have to complete the conversation. So here we have a conversation, a really, really small conversation. We have some blank spaces right here, and we have to think about the correct modal verbs in each of these situations. Pretty easy too as well. Okay, this is a practice that we will do tomorrow. And we have our another practice challenge quiz. Complete the quiz to test your understanding of modal verbs. Select the best option for each situation. Again, this is not hard. At this point, this should be second nature, okay? Which expresses external obligation, which expresses prohibition, that's too easy, okay? At this point. Okay, so those are the exercises. I will send the pictures in a moment. Let's continue with our next topic. The expectations playbook, mastering the be supposed to, expected to, for National Professional English. Okay, so we have 2 more expressions that we need to study, that we need to cover before we finish with this topic. So, by the end of this session, you will be able to use be supposed to navigate duties, schedules, and social expectations. Number 2, use be expected to command formal expectation and professional responsibilities. and distinguish both confidently from must, have to, and should. Okay, so be supposed to, the meaning. It is the rule, it is the plan, it is what people expect or what should happen. Softer, less strong than must or have to. Okay? Nothing in English compares to must and have to. Nothing. Okay? So, important note, sometimes be supposed to implies that something didn't happen. Like when you used it in the past. The movie was supposed to start at 8. It probably started late. Okay? So the rules, you're supposed to wear a helmet, students are supposed to raise their hands. Okay? This is what you expect from people or what should happen. Okay? So must is an internal obligation, have to is an external obligation, supposed to is what you expect. Students are supposed to participate in class, is what I expect from them. Okay? Are supposed to participate in class. People are supposed to pay their taxes. Here I'm not talking about that external rule, have to. I'm talking about what people should do or what is expected of people. Okay? For schedules, the train is supposed to arrive at 7:30. The meeting is supposed to start at 10. The class is supposed to start at 8. Or social expectations. You're supposed to say thank you. People are supposed to respect others. You see, it is not the same use as have to or must. It's different. Okay, the structure is simple too. The architecture of be supposed to. We use the subject, always the verb to be, supposed to, always with this ed at the end, and base verb. I am supposed to arrive at 8. She's supposed to wear a uniform. We are supposed to finish the project today. They are supposed to call before visiting. You see? The negative structure, as I have said before, when you have the verb to be, everything is going to happen around the verb to be. So the negative structure is you aren't supposed to park here. She isn't supposed to use her phone during class. Students aren't supposed to cheat. You are not supposed to cheat. And the structure of the question, again, because we're using the verb to be, we're going to use the verb to be at the beginning because the verb to be, when it's present, is the main actor. So, are we supposed to bring our books? Is he supposed to work today? Am I supposed to sign this form? Expected to. Okay? So, as you can see, we have the option of using supposed in the past, right? Like this example was supposed. Okay. Oh, using the verb to be. Using the verb to be. Okay. Using the verb to be. Okay. So it's supposed to clear. Easy, right? Any questions about supposed to? Okay. Now let's see its cousin. Expected to. Okay. Give me 1 second. Okay. So be expected to. Someone expects you to do something. It is your responsibility. It is required because of your role. Okay? So, context, highly formal, often used in school, work, business, and professional situations, more formal than be supposed to. So, as you can see, expected to, supposed to are related. but one is more formal than the other. In this case, expected to is more formal than supposed to. Okay? Oh, where are you people? Sorry. Than supposed to. So, students are expected to complete homework. Teachers are expected to prepare lessons. Yes. Employees are expected to arrive on time. Doctors are expected to respect patient confidentiality. Okay? So this is like the standard, right? The standard. What people expect from someone. In the case of students, we expect them to study. Okay? But this is normally used in a more formal context, like in this case, in a general sense. Okay, so the structure is pretty similar to supposed to. Actually, the only difference is that we change supposed to from expected to, which we switch right from supposed to expected to. That's it. And the idea that changes a little bit because it's more formal. But aside from that, everything is the same. So employees are expected to arrive on time. Students are expected to complete homework. Doctors are expected. The negative is with around the verb to be always. You aren't expected to know everything. Interns aren't expected to make final decisions. And the verb to be, again, for the questions. Are employees expected to work weekends? Is she expected to attend the meeting? The same structure. The only difference is that we switch supposed to expected to, and that expected to is more formal than supposed to. Okay, so let's see them one in front of the other so we can understand better the differences. So be supposed to focuses on rules, plans, social customs. Be expected to responsibilities, performance, people's expectations. A scenario, imagine a new employee. A scenario, imagine the same employee. Example, he is supposed to wear his company ID is the company rule. He is expected to treat customers politely, professional expectation. Example, you're supposed to wear a seatbelt, it is the rule. An example of expected to, employees are expected to be professional. Okay? So, responsibilities, performance, people expectations, supposed to focuses on rules, plans, and social customs. Okay? Here you have the whole obligation spectrum. Should, ought to, had, better, be supposed to, be expected to, need to, have to, must. All of them are different. All of them are different. Okay? So, again, let's see them. Let's see now must, have to, and supposed to, so you can understand the difference. Let's see if you can identify the tone shift, el cambio en el tono, and nuance, los matices. I must finish this project, a strong personal obligation. The speaker feels it is necessary. Who? The speaker. I have to finish the project, the same sentence. External obligation. My boss requires it. I'm supposed to finish this project today. Rule or plan. It is the schedule or expectation. Must, internal obligation. Have to, external obligation. I'm supposed to is what is expected of me or what was the plan. You see? Different. Have to versus supposed to. Have to wear a uniform. It is required sounds stronger. I'm supposed to wear a uniform. It is the company's rule or expectation. It's not as strong as have to. Okay? Should versus supposed to, expected to. You should call your mother is an advice. You're supposed to call your mother. It is something people expect you to do. See the difference? You should call your mother is only a recommendation. But if I say you're supposed to, it's because people expect you to do that. You should arrive early. My advice, again, employees are expected to arrive early. The company expects this. So as you can see, the supposed to and expects to, we have the supposed to, what people expect from you, and expected to, what the company, right, or the institution expects from you. So supposed to is more social, right? Rules, plans, while expected to is more formal, institutions and things that your company or your employer expects from you. That's why supposed to is more common in English. It's more common. Okay, here we have common mistakes. I supposed to leave is wrong because you always have to use the verb to be. She expected to arrive is wrong because you need the verb to be. She is expected to arrive. We are supposed to study is wrong because you're missing the D here. We're supposed to study. He is expected arriving early. It is wrong because after expected to comes a base verb. So after supposed to, base verb. After expected to, a base verb always. So be supposed to, again, quick tip shortcut. Be supposed to, the rule, the plan, or the custom. You're supposed to wear your seat belt. You're supposed to. But sometimes people don't do it. Be expected to, the responsibility or standard people have for you. You're expected to drive safely. It's the standard of responsible driving. Okay. Is that clear? Supposed to and expected to. I know they're similar, but they are also different. Okay. Remember that if you have a question, never doubt of asking. Okay, so the last exercises for tomorrow, recognition diagnostics. Here you have to choose between expected to or supposed to. Let's see if you actually understood the topic. Here you have to use again expected to or supposed to. Remember to use the verb to be. And another speaking exercise that we will do tomorrow is choose the best expression for each scenario based on the context. Okay? Here we're going to choose, right, between expected to, supposed to build sentences. This is the exercise that will help you the most because this will be based on real situations, daily life scenarios. Okay? So, the final word on expectations, be supposed to, again, rules, plans, customs, the standard, role, duties, performance. Okay? Tomorrow we will have a couple of listenings with modal verbs. As I told, I think it was Luis on Monday, we didn't have any listenings for the past week because we have to study all the modal verbs. But now that we can now jump into the listenings with modal verbs. So tomorrow we will listen to at least 3 different audios with modal verbs that will help us understand better and identify the pronunciations and the uses of those modal verbs. This is an easy topic, but it requires from you a lot. It requires from you to study it. It requires from you to memorize it. It requires from you to practice the nuances of those modal verbs, which is something that we will do tomorrow, but that is not enough. Okay, you need to keep practicing them, and in class you should include them when it is necessary. Okay, so tomorrow we will talk about technology, instructions, celebrations, and festivals, and we will cover an easy topic too. Okay, we will talk a little bit about electronic devices, some technology vocabulary, basic vocabulary that you should know, some internet vocabulary, some words or verbs that we use related to technology that we should know. And we also are going to cover, among other things, we're going to cover a simple, really simple topic, which is the difference between to and for. What is the difference between I am used to, or this computer is used to this, or I use this computer for. What is the difference between used to and for in English? We will see that tomorrow. And that will be all for today, guys. Do you have any questions? Any doubts? Okay. If you don't have any questions or any doubts, I will send you the pictures of the exercises that we'll review tomorrow in a second. And tomorrow is going to be a great day. We will have to move a little bit faster because the topic of the modal verbs took a lot of time. I just hope that this time was useful for you, that you actually understood the topics, because that's why I took all this time to help you understand this complex topic, not because it is difficult, but because of the tones shifts and the nuances that they bring. And remember that I told you that we will see them again in the advanced English course in a different way. Okay, so with that being said, guys, this class will be available in a couple of minutes on the platform. So have a really rest of the day. Enjoy the day because it's right at the beginning. And see you again tomorrow sharp at 6 p.m. Goodbye. Bye-bye.
Bye, teacher. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Judith.
Bye.
Oh, bye. Bye-bye, Del.